Wow, that was a terrible call. But hi, today is Friday, April 4th, 2025. We're doing a Room Talk Friday because I'm not gonna lie, it's not that I forgot to do a video yesterday. I just kind of never got around to it. I There were points where I could have, and I was like, you know what? I've been sitting on this Twilight video for a while, and I actually have the stuff here around me that I can record it. Let me go ahead and do it. I've been sitting on the Thousand Year Door video even longer, and I keep meaning to, but I just still haven't. I'm hoping, excuse me, by the end of the week. I guess for me, I normally think of Sunday as the end of the week and Monday as the start of the week. I know that's not technically true. Sunday is the start of the week, but Monday is the start of the work week. It's just how I think and kind of how my brain functions. So for me, if I can get the Paper Mario video done by the end of the week, ergo by the end of Sunday, I will be satisfied. But there's that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, I just didn't get around to this yesterday. That's just kind of my bad. But to go over some things in the week and looking ahead is number one, just kind of some writing stuff. So for Orichalcum, I entered it into another pair of contests. Actually, no, one contest because one of them I think I'd already done. And yeah, sorry, I was just kind of trying to do the math and timing in my head. One contest for sure. Another one I had done a couple weekends ago because it was on a Saturday. But the thing about that particular contest is once you submit your story, it's available for review. It's like, all right, like our readers will take a look at it and we'll just kind of say like, here's the thing, go ahead and read it. And they even say like, look, 60% of stories get reviewed. Like there's some that just don't get reviewed at all. It's like, you'll probably hear something within a few months or so. And, that's kind of why we're not really pushing anything. You can pay for that. You can pay to get like an express review. You can pay to get multiple express reviews. But, it's there. Someone will look at it eventually, maybe, probably. So I'm not expecting to hear anything anytime soon. And then literally less than a week later, I get a review. And it was absolutely glowing. It was very positive, which I really appreciated. And I also recognized the name because I've entered this contest before. I've had people read my stuff before. And this is the third time this person has reviewed from me. They're a thrice-time reviewer. I love the word thrice. It's one of my favorites. And every time they've read something of mine, they've absolutely loved it. And it's been different series every time. And it just kind of made me realize, and like, I don't know if this is exactly what happened, but it almost kind of feels like it was like, all right, there it is. Here's the thing. Hoping to get feedback at some point. And then the site basically says, sure, cool. Here it is. If anyone wants to look at it, here you go. And it almost felt like this person saw my name and went, oh shit, I've read from this person before. You mean they posted something? I gotta read it. And then flew through it. And it's not like it's super long. It's like 330 pages after I made a lot of cuts. But just kind of flew through it. And it was like, okay, I read it. It was fucking great. And that just really made my day. That was last Friday. So that was a week ago. I kind of really needed that, especially because I believe I've said before, I've submitted Orichalcum to a lot of different agents and I just keep getting rejected. A lot of it is like, this is not what I'm looking for at this time. This doesn't really fit my list at this time, which sucks because, from looking at the agents, like this is what it sounds like you're after. And I think I've kind of got that. And I don't know how much of that is a form rejection is a form rejection, but how much of it is like, no, like genuinely, it's not quite what I'm looking for at this time. This is not, an indictment on the quality of it. And how much of it is yeah, I just really didn't like this. This did not flow at all, but this is kind of how I write my forms. And then I've also had some which are like, yeah, this seems like a really interesting premise. I like what you've got here. It just didn't pull me in. I just wasn't hooked. And, if I'm not passionate about something, I can't really represent it, but, keep trying, you'll get something eventually kind of shit. Which is kind of nice after, like, it's nice, and then I think I've talked about this before. My biggest fear, I guess one of them, is the fear of stagnation. About being in a spot and wanting to keep moving forward, wanting to like get, further than where you are, but you can't. Like you're just stuck. I don't think it's necessarily a fear of complacency, because I feel like complacency is you're at least okay with where you're at. Stagnation is you can't get farther than where you're at. And it's just that, like, yeah, I want to get better. I feel like I really like did a lot to make this a better version of the story. Like I trimmed a lot of the fat. I made the ending a lot better. I feel like I made some of the build up to it go a lot better. I think the like novel as a whole, like the prose and the plot and pacing flow a lot better. I really like how the novel starts. And it's like, yeah, it just wasn't clicking with me. Like, I don't know, it's just not connecting. And granted, like, not everyone's gonna like everything. That's fine, that's understandable. But after time after time after time after et cetera, in perpetuity, you kind of just start to go, I really don't know what I'm doing wrong anymore. Because, at first you're like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And then you kind of think about it more and you listen to what other people have to say and you get some feedback and you realize, okay, this is specifically what I'm doing wrong. Cool, I can fix that. Let's make it better. And you get really excited for that. And then you do that. And then the problem keeps, or the results stay the same. Like, I didn't think I stagnated, but maybe I did. And then I get a review from someone who read the whole thing and seems to like my work in general. I was like, yeah, this was fucking great. Like, I read it really fast. And that, like I said, I really needed that. That kind of meant a lot to me. In terms of other stuff, like for Severance, I believe I'd said we're doing like a short little pause on our art just because Clay, his birthday is in a couple days, and he wanted a commission of one of his OCs, so I had the artist work on that, and that just came in. She looks fantastic. And I had also said, I was like, okay, so if we're going to take a break, I have a character design that I really want done, because this, I guess this is not a Severance part real quick, but that character is who I imagine is on the cover for Orichalcum, and I want to get the design first, and then once I have the design, I will probably try to commission someone, and I might use our same artist. I really like our artist, but it's at least once I have the design, I'm like, this is great, I'm happy with this, then I can try to get a design for the cover. So I sent him the email yesterday, like last night, with just here's her design, like here's kind of what I want, here's a bunch of references. So don't know when we'll really get progress on that. Actually, because like they just finished another project for us, but that'll go as it goes. But once Isabella is done, then we will resume Severance's art. In terms of the script, I did finish a chapter within this past week. I think I finished 2 actually, because there's one I finished last night, and I think there was another one I finished over the weekend. I think it was like Saturday or that's right, because I had said last week I was like, I want to get this chapter done, and I did, and then yesterday I got another one done. My tentative goal is I want to finish this draft, like this pass of the manuscript, by the end of the month. And that feels both very like tenable and very tenuous at the same time. Like there's Still a lot left in terms of, okay, so boom, 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 boom. There's 5 chapters left. 2 of them are very short. They're like less than 30 pages. 2 of them are pretty, not like super long. One is about 30 pages or so, which is the one I'm working on right now, which is probably my favorite chapter in the story. I love it. Like, I just got so much writing done yesterday, and it felt so nice. Like, I got to, like, retreat into my cave during the afternoon and write a good chunk, and I was like, I could keep going, but I kind of want to take a break. And then there was a point at night where I was like, look, I know I'm going to be awake for a little bit longer. I don't have work until, like, 11, so I could stay up a little late. Boom, and then I finished the chapter before it. I was like, okay, now I'm on my favorite chapter. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start. And that's a great fucking feeling. Like, when you really do get into that flow state. And reading this chapter, yeah, so there's been like one part where I'm like, okay, I do actually kind of want to add a little bit here, but for the most part, it's felt very smooth, which was kind of what I expected. Is the second, because this is about the second half of the manuscript, I guess just the script, the end. This is the part where I feel like I had done a lot of like substantial editing already. The first half needed more, which is why it kind of, I mean, granted, part of the reason it took so long to get through this draft was working on orichalcum. It was, sorry, it's like studying for the bar, and then, okay, I could do these again, but now orichalcum is taking precedence. Now the bar is done, orichalcum is done, and I'm no longer in California. I feel like more recharged and energized, although that's still kind of its own thing. I feel like there's a line from Grease. It's like, you have the dream, but not the drive. I feel like I got the dream, the drive, and there's less shit that I have to focus on. So that all comes together, makes a perfect storm, or I can write like hell, and that's a great feeling. So like I was saying, like, I feel like this half of the novel, I've already made a lot of substantial edits to, so I'm hoping I can get through it relatively quickly. Then I want Clay to do a pass. You know, like, is there anything that he thinks needs to be edited or changed? And then I kind of want to make my final review. And then in terms of the main script, I am done. In terms of like appendices and side shit, some of that has already been worked on. A lot of it I'm kind of trying to... So like character bios, I think I'm done with the main cast. Any of the kind of like side characters, like, well, they'll get to them, but they weren't as important because, you know, they're side characters. In terms of the glossary of terms, I've been doing that as I'm writing. It was like, okay, this is in a different language, let me add it here. This is in a different language, let me add it here, blah, blah, blah. In terms of, like, how magic works, I already did that. And, like, here is the list, because this is... Shout out to Mistborn, because it was always supposed to be kind of like a gemstone-based magic, but it was very ill-defined. It was more like, oh yeah, you eat it. It was kind of like they eat gems, which now they don't eat them anymore, even though that's from Mistborn. But it was like, okay, eat a gem, it gives me a magic boost, and I can do cool shit. Cool, but it was very ill-defined as to what exactly do they do. It was kind of more of a, it's magic, bitch, I ain't got to explain shit. And reading Mistborn and how much I liked having, like, this is how the system works, made me go, okay, let me fuck with this. So I was like, okay, if it's a gemstone-based magic, this gem does this. Cool, this gem does this. And I have, like, several categories of gems. These are all the gems that are in them. So here you go. It is here in the glossary. This is what all this shit does. Blah, 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 blah. Like, a lot of that shit is done. Anyways, to my point... I want to have this draft done by the end of April. And while that might be, like, that there might be some complications and difficulties, I don't think that's a problem. As for when Clay will finish his pass, I don't know. And then when I will get it back and do my next pass, I don't know either. But there's that. Here's the insane part. Because I feel like Severance at the end of April, doable. I've kind of made the tentative decision. I don't even want to say tentative. This is just kind of what I want to do. I want to publish Project Isla as a web serial, where it's like, here's my start date, shorthand, but it's like, okay, here it is. Like, here's chapter 1, and then a week later, here's chapter 2, then a week later, here's chapter 3, etc., etc., etc. And I've kind of made the decision I want to do it on my birthday, so that'll be mid-August. Because I don't know, something about doing it on my birthday kind of sounds nice and feels right, which also means I have a good few months before then. So, theoretically, the series is done because I have 4 books written. But, number 1, I have changes I want to make, and like some substantive changes I want to make. And I feel like for the first 3 books, it's not crazy. It'll be some like, okay, like here's a little bit of lore here, a little bit of lore here, like maybe add this conversation here and this conversation here. Nothing too insane. I don't think it's a huge problem. I guess it's like I was having a conversation with Clay the other day, and about how like I was sitting down to try to work on I like actually write, and the problem I was facing was what I like my intention is I mostly just want to take what I have and tinker with it. But the way I was going about it was I was kind of starting from scratch, which I don't really want to do. And I think part of it was I'm really in my own head right now, and I think everything I touch is shit, so I need to redo it. And part of it is also I'm kind of having this weird mindset because I know I shouldn't be working on this right now because I've got a severance to do. Because that kind of shit has happened to me before. It's like I almost have these weird mental, like it's not just writer's block. Like there's just a weird mental block because I know I'm not supposed to do this yet. I've got other shit to take care of. So I genuinely think when I'm done with Severance, I say, okay, it's Isla time. It should probably go easier. But essentially our conversation was, is this a remaster or a remake? If it's a remaster, you know, you're going to do some touch-ups, like kind of fix some shit, make it better, and maybe add a few new things, but nothing crazy. Or is it a remake where like you are starting from the ground up? And I feel like books 1, 2, and 3 are remasters. Book 4 is kind of a remake. Because I feel like a lot of these changes I want to make, like I said, in 1 through 3, they're present. They really have a big impact in book 4. And there's some other shit that I'm thinking about doing in book 4 that's really big and very substantial. There's a lot to write. So here's my point. What I want to have happen, and I don't think it will, because like this is a lot, is okay, April is Severance, May is book 1, June is book 2, July is book 3, and August is book 4. Like I don't think that's a pace I can keep up. Granted, it's theoretically all done. Aside from book, like books 1 through 3 are done. I'm just trying to give them touch-ups. Like, can I do that in a month? Maybe. I've generally found Oro to be something that's very Oro and Hyla. It's just easy to read. For me, it's very easy to read, easy to write. And I've had moments where I've just kind of like sat down and read part of it, and like, yeah, I still really like this. I can't put this down. It's like 2 a.m. I should. But also seeing, okay, that sentence could still be phrased better. Okay, this paragraph, just the sentences are very repetitive. I can tell this was still a draft, even though I thought it was done. That's on me, kind of thing. But I genuinely feel like 1 through 3, I could get, like, if I'm really going to my cave and locking the fuck in, could be done relatively quickly. But 1 a month is still a lot. And with all the shit I want to do now with Moonlight's Cadence, I don't think I could do that in a month. But the hope is, if I am going chapter a week, this is a web serial, I'm hoping by the time my birthday comes around, if I'm done with everything, I'm done with everything. But if I'm at least, like, I'm done with book 1 and a good chunk of the way of book 2, hopefully the first 3 in total, like, okay, this gives me just like a lot of room. So I should not catch up to where I'm at, like anytime soon. So I can get this thing done. I can get this thing figured out, and it's smooth sailing from there. And then once Isla is done, like I have written it, I am satisfied, then I can resume working on the next Orichalcum book while still uploading Isla weekly. That's what I want to do. That's like the future I see. Will it come to pass? We're gonna do what we fucking can. Damn, it's already been 20 minutes. Sorry, just definitely rambling. But that's that stuff. Some other things to talk about. I'm gonna talk about video games for a second. Number one, Trails. Trails Beyond the Horizon is coming out in 2025, which means I'm going to have a Trails game to play with the Sky remake, a Trails game to play with Kai, and a Pokemon game in ZA, and I'm very, very happy and excited. So that transitions into the Direct. So, my initial reaction was like, yeah, goated as shit, this is fantastic. Yeah, I was hoping to see something Mario related. I was hoping to see a new Fire Emblem. I was hoping to see the future of Smash, etc., etc. But with the shit that I got, I'm like, okay, we're getting enhanced versions of Switch games. That's really cool. I wonder how the price is gonna look, but that's cool. There's a new FromSoft game, which, like, I'm not a crazy FromSoft guy. I've talked about that before. Like, Souls is not really my thing, but I really like Bloodborne. And this, I don't remember what it was called. It wasn't called Bloodborne 2, but everything about it looked like fucking Bloodborne 2. Like, I'm not, like, I liked Hollow Knight. I didn't love Hollow Knight just because Metroidvanias aren't my thing. But I know how much people really care about Silksong and all the memes about how Silksong isn't real and never coming out. We finally saw it. It's like, yeah, it is coming out this year, so I know a lot of people are excited for that. Like, I'm not super huge into racing games, so the new Mario Kart, like, that's not something that I do notice, sort of like, yeah, like, all these genres of games. No. It's basically like, look, I like JRPGs, I like platformers, and there's, like, some action games I like too. But like, I don't really play Mario Kart, but this looks super neat. I've played Kirby Air Ride, and I do think it's fun. So I think it looks neat that we're getting another one, and that Sakurai gets to do something for once that isn't Smash. Yep, looks a Kid Icarus Uprising. But I'm happy he kind of gets to do something else. He gets to return to his baby in Kirby. I think that's super neat. Excuse me. GameCube games to the NSO. That's really neat. I like that. Especially with, like, looking at some of the ones that are coming. It's like, hey, Coliseum and XD, Path of Radiance, Chibi Robo. These are really fucking expensive games. I was talking to Wyatt the other day, and he's like, yeah, like, I've been really wanting to play Chibi Robo again. But I don't want to have to shell out, like, a few $100s to do it. Oh, well, what do you know? That's nice. But, it's not going to end up being a few hundred. We'll get to that in a second. Was there anything else besides Danky Kang? I don't know. I feel like that's kind of like some of the... Oh yeah, I was like expecting a Bravely Default remaster. Like, that was super neat. But yeah, we're finally getting Donkey Kong. And I've said, like, before that stream, I think before the previous stream too, I'm like, this is the game that I really want. I want a new DK. It's been a long time, and there was an industry rumor like a good few years ago that the Odyssey team was working on a DK game. And what do you know? They fucking are, and this game looks crazy. I like the idea of playing a platformer where it's not about, yeah, you gotta make all these jumps to get up somewhere. It's like, no, I'm just gonna punch shit and bring it down to my level. I'm just gonna destroy the map. Bonanza looks fucking insane. And I can't wait to play it. That being said, $450 is a lot. Like, it's a new console. It will, I don't want to say pay for itself, because I'm not going to be making money off of it. But it's like okay, that's a good investment. Like, fuck, when did I get my Switch? I got my Switch, got it in law school. So I think I got it, like, 2018. So I've had my Switch a good, what, like 7 years? And, aside from the issue like the drift and whatnot, it's, yeah, like I feel like that was a very good investment. I've had a lot of good experiences on there, played a lot of great games on there. I've played Celeste on there several times, pin in that. Oh yeah, that one pin was just like my birthday. That's when I was gonna. That was the day for Isla. Anyway, sorry. Quick, the pin distracted me more than it was supposed to. Anyways, point. I feel like that was a worthwhile investment. I think I also paid like $200, like 250, maybe three. I don't know. 450 is a big number, and it's the kind of number that makes me go, especially with how the economy is looking right now. Like, I don't know if I can justify this. Like, the thing is, like, I know I probably could by the time it comes out, but just because I can doesn't mean I should, you know? And then, okay, games are like $70 to $80. These remastered games, it's like, yeah, this is the Nintendo Switch version of this, and like it's got some additional content. Yeah, this is gonna be a full price, like $80 game. Like, we're doing this. I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. Yickety yikes. And then again, with like what's going on in the economy and the tariffs, like, is this price even gonna stay? It could go higher. Which on the one hand is like, shit, maybe I should pull the trigger and get it now. But also just I don't know about this, Chief. So that's just kind of where that's at. It's part of it is like, look, I don't need a Switch 2 to play Trails. And I technically don't need it to play Pokemon, but I'd kind of rather get it on the console where it looks like it fucking runs. So we'll see. Well, that's where that is in terms of games. Oh yeah, I didn't bring up the Forgotten Land expansion because that looks so exciting. I love Forgotten Land. Can't wait to play that. But not technically video game related, but kind of is the FNAF 2 movie because the trailer, I guess the teaser came out the other day because it comes out in December. Yeah, I mean, I think the toy animatronics look really good. I think Mangle looks so nice, and Balloon Boy kind of creeped me right the fuck out, and like my buddy Billy hates Balloon Boy. It just scares the shit out of him. And so I was like, okay, Billy's gonna love this. He's gonna hate this, but he's gonna love this. And so I had a good time with the first movie, so I'm hoping to have a good time with this as well. I think there were times in the first movie where it could actually be pretty genuinely scary or creepy. I think it does a good job of combining the horror aspects with the kids love FNAF and just want to hang out with the animatronic aspects and the weird convoluted lore backstory aspects. Is it like a great, perfect movie? No, but I feel like in its own way, it's kind of a perfect representation of FNAF. So I don't know if FNAF 2 is going to feel like that as well. If it's going to be like, okay, like this was to kind of get the kids in and blah, blah, blah. But now we're going to really make a horror movie. Now we're going to really focus on the, like on the lore, on the story we're trying to craft here. We'll see how it goes, but I am looking forward to it. I did watch Snow White. Like, speaking of movies, which I made a video on. I also fucking made my Twilight video, which I did talk about earlier. But I talked about Twilight for like an hour. I was not expecting it to be that long, and part of it was my classic rambles, and it almost felt kind of nice to do that too. But that's done. Clay and I watched Snow White. Yeah, having slept on it, it's not good, but there were things I kind of like I said, this felt like watching Rise of Skywalker. This isn't good. I know this isn't good, but I went in knowing what I was gonna get and kind of had a good time experiencing it. For me, it's not something that's like, man, this, I don't know if I'd say like it's insulting or disrespectful to the original. Like, I don't know if I'd go that far. It just feels like someone, like, they wanted to redo Snow White and I guess try to make it more modern. And I appreciate the attempt, I suppose, but I don't think it works overall. Shit, I don't remember what I was gonna say, because I was saying, I don't know if I'd say it's insulting, but it's not. I don't remember exactly how I was gonna phrase that. But anyways, like, I don't want to say it's fine, but it's not. But I don't know, I had a good time. I didn't genuinely hate it as much as I thought I would, but I think that's because I knew what I was expecting, so I was already desensitized to it. But I had a good time, occasionally on its own merits, but mostly just because of my own sick, twisted personality. So that's what I have to say about that. Now I gotta talk about some shows. This is not an anime. This is real. I've started Doubles. I have fucking finally, the thing I was hoping to do in the back half of January, I finally started. And when I turn it on, I just hear, Anime Janai, Anime Janai, Anime Janai, Anime Janai. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I think I've watched the first, 9 episodes or so, in terms of what's happening. They just left Shangri-La, and I think I've had 1, maybe 2 episodes just in space. It's weird, and not like a Fooly Cooly kind of weird. It's just wow, Zeta, this is not, at this point in Zeta, I don't know, how many war crimes had we seen be committed? I think by this point, we've had, Emma's defection, we've had, a going to the gassed colony, which is one of my favorite moments in Zeta because of just how unsettling it is. I think both Camille's parents have died at this point. I think, Lieutenant Jared has already lost someone. His rivalry with Camille has really started. It feels like so much shit has happened by this point in Zeta. Here in Double Zeta, I really feel like I'm watching a Saturday morning cartoon. Now, we do have some stuff that's happening with, I don't remember his name now, Masmir, but I'm just going to call him James, because with his hair color and his rose, he makes me think of James from Pokemon. Okay, we have our antagonist. I don't know if he's the Lieutenant Jared, where he is going to be, a recurring rival throughout Double Zeta, or if he's just kind of the starter villain, and then they're going to take care of him, a third of the way through or so, and then we start getting the more competent, dangerous members of Axis. But we've got that. We've got some of the shit just going on in the Argo and meeting our new characters, and my boy Jado and all of them, and I like them fine. I'm genuinely having a good time with it. I don't want to make it sound like I'm not, but it is just this feels so different. It's just weird. And it's a Saturday morning cartoon in a different way than G Gundam is. G Gundam this is how it feels. G Gundam feels like it was made for teenagers who just love to see over-the-top action and hot-blooded shit and want to see people punch skyscrapers while being hammy as hell. This feels like it's made for kids who want to see goofy slapstick and also see Gundams. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, because again, I am enjoying. I'm okay, this is what it is. I'm kind of having a good time with it. But after Zeta, and again, how much I loved Zeta and loved the tone of Zeta, this was kind of I was expected, because I understood this is kind of what the first chunk of Double Zeta is. But it is man, this is kind of whiplash. Even though it's been a couple months, because wow, the ending of Zeta really fucking stuck with me. I've heard that after about the first third or so, I don't know specifics, but I think I heard it's around episode 17 or so, is when it kind of starts to feel like Gundam. So I'm excited to get there. And again, I'm enjoying the ride so far. But I think I was talking to Jose about it, and he's in my opinion, the highs of Double Zeta are about as high as the highs of Zeta. I think it's fine the whole way through, but once it gets going, it really gets going. So I am excited for that. And in terms of other shows, I gotta talk about Survivor for a bit. Because I remember last week, I was I can't wait to talk about this episode of Survivor, and then I never fucking did. I kept forgetting. What did happen? Last week was the Bianca fiasco, where it was, I don't have a vote. I'm playing the middle between 2 duos, even though it's more of, here's a duo, here's Cedric, here's Say, and then here's me. But Cedric is getting really close to Mitch and Chrissy, and Mitch and Chrissy are getting close to me, but I'm getting close to Say, and I'm getting close to Cedric. And I could have some, like, real big swing power, but I don't have a vote, and no one knows I don't have a vote. But then she tells Cedric right before Tribal, and he goes, oh, I don't think I can trust you now. And then she ends up getting voted out because of that. And again, it's one of those things where I like what happened. I'm not trying to say I'm happy Bianca went home. Like, I felt really bad for her. But it's that, someone saying, like, I am in a tight spot, and if I play this right, I'm Gucci, and if I play this wrong, I'm fucked. And they're like, I'm going to play this right, I'm going to play this right, and then they talk themselves into a very risky move, and it did not work. And they had to pay the price. That is shit that I love. But again, if she intentionally chose to risk her vote and lost it, that's on her. She didn't. And it was also, this was a game of chance that lost her vote. Not, she failed to solve a puzzle or failed to do a game. I think this is literally chance. She had no control. I don't like that. I mean, I don't know. I think her tribe won that challenge, so maybe she picked herself, but there's maybe like a modicum of control there, but not really. And yes, of course, it was her control of who do I tell that I don't have a vote? Do I tell anybody? Yes. And again, that's the aspect I like. I don't like forced vote losses. I feel like you should always have a chance to play or not, as they did earlier in these other seasons in the new era. That's my tangent. Let me talk about this episode. We get our Murgatory, kind of like last time. Only one person is immune, and that's good. This is, you're merged, but you're not really merged. Everyone's on one beach, and everyone's going to the same tribal. Only one person should be immune, because it's a really fucking important vote. Excuse me. Love that. It looks like next week they're also doing the, hey, you're merged, but let's split you into two tribes, which again, I still don't like, especially if you do tribe swaps. Just keep them swapped for keep them swapped for a round or two extra, then have your Murgatory if that's how you want to do it. One person's immune, you get a boot, you're now merged, go for it. I think that works way better. If it's because it's 26 day, I guess it's probably because of that, like we got to get more people booted, but I don't know, I just don't like it. Anyways, to my point, or I don't know, maybe you could have both. I guess you could maybe do that where you're still swapped, only one tribe wins immunity of the three, and both tribes go to tribal. Or what you could do is you're just going to swap into two larger tribes, and, et cetera, et cetera. Anyways, I know I talk about this shit all the time. That's the shit that bothers me. I just don't like it. If you're merged, stay fucking merged. Anyways, let's talk about the content of the episode. God bless Star. And I mean that, like, as genuinely as I can. The first few episodes, I didn't know what to think of Star because I just didn't get a lot of content from her. And part of it was very early on. I'm like, I think I really like Eva. And I'm like, okay, she's kind of my winner pick. Okay, Star is her op. Sorry, Star, but like I've already made my allegiance clear. And I kind of saw it a bit last week where like her talking to Eva and be like, you know what? I didn't understand what you were going through. I want to become closer to you. We're kind of making the connection. I was like, oh, that's really cool. That's really sweet. And then gives her the idol. I'm like, that's cool as hell. Like that is a sense of honor and fair play that I really respect. And then in this episode, when Star's just waiting on the beach, like singing to herself, like, hey, we can go to war later, but it's gonna be peace. Come here to Mama Star. I'll hug y'all. I was like, this is so endearing. Like, I really like this person. Why has she not been getting content? And then there was her like hype speech to Cedric. And that was genuinely fucking beautiful. Like, I really loved that moment. I really love this character. And like, character feels like a weird thing to say about a person, but I understand, like, look, I'm watching a show. I don't know Star personally. There is an edit going on. Like, the people running the show are making all the players into characters. But I'm really liking her character now. And she was killing it at the challenge. Kyle pulled it out, but she was killing it. Eva's still my girl. She's still the person that I am ultimately rooting for. He's like, look, you're my winner pick. We're going to do this. Let's go. Hope you do well. What do you mean baby girl's name is coming up? This is a problem. All right. She got no votes. That's good. Let's go. I do like Joe and Shaheen. I really, really enjoy watching Kyle and Camilla. Again, just there. I don't know if I would say they're the most, like, sneaky, unsuspecting duo ever, because my brain immediately goes to, like, JT and Steven and just how they fucking ran that entire season. I was like, yeah, the fact that they are so tight and number ones and no one knows, and how well they have played this. It's the kind of shit that makes me remember this is the actual meta of Survivor. You have a number one, you treat them like a number one, and you guys work really fucking well together, and you help each other out. And you do what you can. It is really interesting that we have two main duos this season. Like, we also kind of had Mitch and, not Chrissy, it's Charity, thank you. Mitch and Charity, who were a duo, but because they never went to tribal, we didn't get to see much of it. We've got whatever saying Cedric. That's a whole can of worms and a mess, and it's great. Like, there was Thomas and Bianca, who never really got to work together because of all the shit that happened. But we really have two main duos. Eva and Joe, who everyone knows is a duo. Everyone knows that they are super close, super tight. They work well together. They have a strong bond. And you are not going to break those two up unless you take one out. And then we have Kyle and Camilla, who no one knows is working together and are just kind of playing a stealth R Us game. And I think that's it's a really interesting dichotomy to see how that goes. And now we're trying to make an alliance of the Unga Bungas, which is Joe, Shaheen, Kyle, David, and Eva. And if Kyle is in that, he's going to have Camilla helping with that too, unless they decide, hey, we're going to turn on them. Which is really interesting because everyone in that alliance except Kyle's like, yeah, we want to play with honor. We want to play integrity and loyalty. Let's play like an old school game. Let's not be the meat shields anymore. Let's not let the hyenas win. Let's have fuck the Davids. Let's have the Goliaths win. And the Kyle's like, yeah, I'm super into that. While also saying, dude, I'm still here playing Survivor. Like, if I got to cut y'all, I got to cut y'all. I'm like, yeah. There is something about just watching like a genuine old school game in the new era work that I kind of love. But again, Kyle saying like, yeah, that's really great. I am a strong guy. He won the first challenge. I want to be protected by these kinds of people. I also want to fucking win. So let me do what I gotta do. I really like Kyle. Camilla didn't really get to do much in this. I don't think she got a confessional, but there's just a couple of points in Tribal where she's just kind of joking to herself. I'm like, no, I still like Camilla. I am really enjoying this cast. I think the pre-merge was really, really good, and I am excited to see the merge play out. But I do have to say this. I know I've said that Eva's my winner pick. She's my favorite girl. Hope she wins. David, I think, is going to win the season. I feel like David has gotten a lot of, and I mean, I'm not super deep into how Edgic works, but essentially he's gotten a lot of content. This is a character that even though he's never been to Tribal until yesterday, we've really gotten to know David. We've gotten to know a lot of his relationships, a lot of his life. He comes across as the most super likable dude. It really feels like this is they're trying to endear us a lot to David. And then even when that tribe swap happened, you get in all these confessionals about how everyone just loves David. And yeah, there was this one little line during the challenge where Shaheen's like, look at that, $1 million smile and $2 million biceps. And yeah, maybe that was just yeah, this is funny, we're going to keep it in. But also he's got $1 million smile. And we all know what he wants to do with $1 million. He's, it's a situation it's to get a new home. It's to be with the woman he loves, which is something we can all root for. I'm like, I can see what's happening. And to a point where if David's at least not in the finale, I would be shocked. But I do feel like Joe is going to end up blowing up his game for Eva. I still think he's going to lose fire to her, or he's going to put himself in fire so she doesn't have to. But David is going to beat Eva in Final Tribal. That's where I'm leaning toward right now. We'll see how that goes. Honestly, I kind of want to see a fire, as much as I would love to see fire, like, between Joe and Eva, be just, kind of like the Stealth R Us shit and, like, how hyped that was. Seeing it between Joe and Chrissy would be super neat, just because, like, yeah, two firemen are trying to beat each other in fire. It's just kind of neat to me. Let's see, I talked about that. So now, with these last few minutes, because I've been rambling a lot, I guess I'll try to get through my really personal shit quick. I'm going to take Pin out. Pin is I was playing Celeste again. Just didn't feel great early this week. Like, when I was in California, I started a playthrough of Celeste, and then I did the first 3 levels. I was like, I don't know. I think I'm kind of good. Part of it is I don't know if I want to do the wind level, and I really don't want to do the temple, and I don't know. And part of it was also just my own, like, energy levels and exhaustion. And early this week, I just didn't feel mentally good. I wasn't feeling like myself, really. So I finished that playthrough, and I felt a lot better. I feel like that was, maybe I brought this up, because sorry, I did the playthrough last week, because I think it was around, like, Thursday or Friday I finished it. And then earlier, like, I felt really good, and then early this week, no, I was not feeling all right. So I kind of realized the game's not done with me yet. Because there's a lot of shit I've just never done. I've done some of the B-sides. I haven't done all the B-sides. I've clearly never done the C-sides. I've never done chapters 8 or 9. I've never really felt like I needed to. I think now I need to. Chapter 8 might be my favorite part of the game now. As much as I love the summit, and as much as I love just, like, a lot of things like Chapter 6 or, like, Resurrections, I loved Chapter 8. It pissed me off because, like I said, I was not doing well, and then, like, I had to do some shit to get those hearts. Like, I did the B-side to Chapter 3, and that was ass. It drove me nuts. I think I died 722 times doing that B-side. Like, I was not in a flow state. I was in a fail state. And then I did Chapter 8. And it was hard as fuck. I died like 200 something times. I thought I died a lot more than that. But I did it. I did that shit. And it was hard. It was difficult. It took a lot of precision. It took a lot of timing. It took a lot of trial and error. But I did that shit. And it's just that image at the very end of, like, Madeline just, like, floating, holding the heart and relaxing. Like, really got me. I didn't cry, but it was just kind of what I needed, and I felt so much better after. That was Tuesday. Yeah, okay, sorry. I was about to say today's Thursday. I'm like, no, I missed it. So today's Friday. Yesterday was Thursday. Wednesday was the direct. That was Tuesday night, and I felt a lot better since then. Chapter 9, which I've tried, I've started, I've done a decent chunk, I think. I don't know how fucking long it is. This shit is hard. I have to do this one thing now where I've got, like, this jellyfish umbrella. I have to bounce off a thing, go to a spike wall, throw the umbrella at the wall. The umbrella bounces back to me, catch the umbrella, go up, bounce, boom, boom. Like, I look at him like I understand what I have to do. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to do it. What? I'm at a point where I'm like, I don't think Chapter 9's for me. I think it's, as much as I love this game, and I do, it asks a lot of me, especially because I have cerebral palsy, so I'm really bad when it comes to precision inputs. Celeste is all about precision. So the fact that I've done the shit that I have in the game is, for me, it's saying a lot. And I don't want to quit Chapter 9, because then if I want to do it again, I gotta do all this bullshit again. But I'm kind of thinking I want to give it another go. And if I get to a point where I'm like, dude, I cannot progress, because I was also playing it with Clay, and like I would not mind like swapping off on Chapter 9. Chapter 8 is like, I got to do this myself. I do not mind swapping off on Chapter 9. But if I get to that point, because I want to do the other B sides and I want to do the C sides, I want to try at least the C sides, you know? If I get to that point, I'm like, all right, we're done with Chapter 9. Let me try the other shit. That's pretty much it. I guess just earlier this week, there was a thunderstorm, and I remember I woke up in like the middle of the night. It was in the middle, it was more like 6, I think. So my phone went off, I woke up, saw this bright flash of lightning, and it was just like pure white, and I tried to go back to sleep, and I was in this weird dream state, meditative state, where I wasn't sure, like, am I sleeping, am I awake? And I had this conversation with Jesus, and it was super neat and super weird. But essentially, it boiled down to him saying, like, you know what? I believe in you. And I remember just asking, why? To which he said, have you met you? There's nothing you can't do. And I'll be honest, after the last couple months that I had, and some of just the shit that's happened to me this week, and like my own frustrations and my own issues, kind of like that early review I got of Orichalcum, I kind of really needed that. And I think I'm doing okay right now. I still want to play Celeste, but I feel like this is less of a... I saw a little spitfly. It almost feels like less of a, man, I need this now, and I just kind of want to keep going because I see I've got some unfinished business. But this was a really long one. Holy shit, my bad. See ya. Have a good day and a good weekend.